Didn't wanna be a ghost, but you pushed me over and over. Controller. Never thought I'd have a vice other than you. Over and over. Left you in the sky with the fire below. Thought I had it right, but I am still lost in the light. And I don't know what night it is. You're somewhere else. I'm drinking not to guess. Blurred bodies.
What's up to all of my bookish baddies and babes? How are y'all? So it's strange doing this and knowing that this is going to go up somewhere else. I don't know, maybe I need to do an intro video before I like put this up, or like an introduction to moi. If you are coming over from my regular page, The Third Eye Angel, then welcome. But now we are over here and we are doing all things bookish. I have been making bookish content for a minute, but it's been going up on my regular page, and I felt like what I was trying to do deserved its own platform. So that's what we're going to do here today, and I'm going to introduce you guys to something I started over there, and hopefully it will encourage more of you guys to run over here and join me. So if you're following me from my other platforms, welcome. How are you? It's been a strange reading year for me. I've barely finished a book this year. I think I've read like all of like 12 books this year, which, you know, I usually finish about 12 to 15 in a month. So reading has been coming slow, but I also kind of feel like there's just been so much going on, a lot that we're trying to process. The stories just aren't kind of hitting my cerebellum the way they usually do, you know? So I'm excited to do some more of this content because the books that I have been reading have been bangers. Like, they have been insanely good. So today we are doing a book and breakfast. Usually I don't film these in this setup. I'll either have you guys in front of my bookcase, or I will have you guys downstairs in the kitchen with me. But I will be giving you guys recipes, we'll be cooking together, and I will also be giving you guys all things bookish. It's a way to kiki and kind of like a low-key kind of book club situation. So if you're interested in that, if you just want to sit down, cook, be cozy, and talk all things books, then just stay put. All right, y'all, let's go ahead and get into it. Those of you who are new here, look, your girl loves to cook, she loves to bake. I love a good breakfast moment so I can just sit and read my books. So today we are doing homemade cinnamon rolls, and I'm just going ahead and getting a few things prepped. I'm going to go ahead and warm up some milk, and also go ahead and melt down some butter. So let's work on our dry ingredients. We're going to be adding in some flour, some baking powder, salt, all of those good babies. I will have the recipe as well as the creator who I found the recipe from linked down in the description box below, so don't stress about measurements, just bake with me. Alright, we're going to combine all of our dry ingredients, and then we're going to go ahead and work on our milk. We're going to take that warm milk and we're going to add our activated dry yeast to the bowl. I used 1 packet.
Didn't wanna be a ghost, but you pushed me over and over. Controller. Never thought I'd have a vice.
Right, and then you're just going to go ahead and cover that and set it to the side. After you've allowed that to bloom, then we'll go ahead and add the rest of our wet ingredients. So it should start to look like that. It should start to look kind of foamy, like things are going down in there. We're going to add a couple of eggs, and then we're also going to go ahead and add in that melted butter and some sugar, and we're going to whisk that all up. And you really want to take your time and make sure that this is all well combined. And now we're going to go ahead and add our dry ingredients into the wet. And to combine everything, we're going to use a bread hook. This is honestly, like, you can use your hands, but this is way easier. So this is my mixer. This one comes with like 2 attachments, but most standard will come with 1. So it takes a second to get it going. So I just go ahead and kind of work everything towards the actual hooks. Once you start getting it going, then the hooks will really like latch onto the dough, and it basically does its own work for itself. My bowl doesn't turn on its own, so I'm just keeping that going. But this came together relatively quickly. Now this is a very sticky dough, so you will start to see the dough really forming around the hooks, but don't expect it to be dry. It's not that type of dough. Right, and once it is nice and formed, it should spring back like that. You're gonna go ahead and take a bowl. I'm going to add a little bit of, well, that wasn't a little bit, that was a lot. I'm gonna add some oil to the bowl because, like I said, this dough is super duper sticky. I don't want the dough to just adhere to the bowl. So we're going to transfer all of that dough into a well-oiled bowl so that it can sit and rise. Now, full disclosure, during all of this process, our house was not very warm, so I could have gotten more rise out of my dough throughout all of this, but that's because our house was cold as hell. Okay, so yeah, you're going to make sure this is covered in that little bit of oil, and you're just going to cover that. And I did put a towel over it so that it could just stay as warm as possible, and you're going to let that rise. While that's rising, I went ahead and worked on my cinnamon sugar mixture for the actual rolls. So you're just going to take some butter, lots and lots of cinnamon. I think this was about 3 tablespoons. And you're also going to add some brown sugar, and you just work those together and combine them. Now, you don't necessarily have to do this. I think the recipe actually calls for you to take the softened butter and spread that over the dough once it's rolled out, and then you sprinkle the sugar on top. I thought this was easier, and it came out just as good.
Didn't wanna be a ghost, but you pushed me over and over. Controller. Never thought I'd have a vice other than you.
Alright, so our dough is still rising, so let's do some book journaling. I decided to purchase a book journal this year, and I have been attempting to keep up with it. I really like this one that I got off of Amazon. I'll have it linked in the description below. It's not an affiliate, it's just the direct link that I used to purchase. And I really like this because it has several different areas for you to fill out. You can put in your TBR, all the books that you've purchased, your own personal rating systems, and then it has its own separate pages for you to put in your entries for each book. The one I'm working on currently is the first book in the Toxic Paradise series. I've really been enjoying this, just customizing it as I feel. I think that this has been really helpful for me to really remember the books that I'm reading, even though I feel like I actually do a very good job of remembering the books that I read down to very small characters. I've always been that way, even as a child. I read a lot of books and somehow hold on to lots of those memories. But I like to put several different things in here: how I felt about the book, my rating system, and I even like to jot down some of my favorite quotes just to kind of have them there for me. I don't know if I'm actually going to keep up with this. I've been trying really hard though, and so far I've been enjoying it. It's been kind of a good escape for me, even though I already use reading as an escape. It's been nice to kind of stop and look and see a little bit more about what I'm reading, as opposed to just what I'm filling out into my StoryGraph, which I will also link in the description box below. So while we're doing a little bit of journaling as we wait for our cinnamon rolls to do what they do, let's talk about some of the books that I have really been enjoying this year. I haven't really gotten through a lot of books, but I will say, even though I haven't read as much as I typically would at this point in the year, the books have been quality. Almost everything that I have read this year has been 4 or 5-star reads, starting off with the Toxic Paradise series that I just mentioned by Maravilla. I was lucky enough to receive an arc of City of Salvation, the final book in the series, and thankfully they were kind enough to send over the first 2 books in the series so that we would know what was going on in the last one if we hadn't read it yet. And I'm so thankful because I binge read all 3 books and they were phenomenal. The first one is Skeletons of Society. This is Cartel and Motorcycle Club. We have our FMC, who is the arms dealer for the local cartel, and she ends up getting into a deal with the leader of one of the local motorcycle clubs that is working with the cartel, and there's some sticky shit going on all up in her grill. People are betraying her, and our little motorcycle club member, he is head over heels for her, and as he should be, because Ryan is a badass, and that's what I love about this series, is that we get badass FMCs. And we do meet some of our other FMCs that we're going to meet in the next 2 books, and one of those is Scar, whose book is Syndicate of Sins, which is a wide choose. Scar has been working in an underground network doing her own thing for ages, even though she is part of one of the mobs. And she ends up in a forced marriage situation with one of the heads of the syndicate. That is basically an organized situation of second sons of different mobs and mafias throughout the world. It was really, really good, super duper filthy. I adored this book. I think it was my favorite out of the 3. And then we have City of Salvation, the most recent release, that is about Nikki and Dex. Nikki and Dex are the best friends of the main characters of book 1, respectively, and this is like a runaway bride, protect my girl, hold her down situation, and it was really, really good. This was an awesome series. If you love badass FMCs, if you love mafia, cartel, you'll enjoy this. And then I was able to arc read Toxic by Kenya Goree Bell, and if you have read the Blood Legacy series, you know that shit is banging, okay? We have a diagnosed clinical psychopath who is Hisashi Takeda, and our girl Taylor. Listen, you just have to read it. And one thing I love about Miss Kenya is that the rep is always on point, okay? I love their story, and even though it is completely unhinged, like the way my heart was beating for Hisashi and everything that we witness him going through throughout his story, it just it gets me every time. It gets me in the feels. If you love it dark, you gotta get into Miss Kenya Goree Bell. Alright, let's get back to our cinnamon rolls. I'm going to go ahead and lay out some flour on my surface. We have countertops that I can actually do this on, so that's why I'm doing this. I'm going to go ahead and roll out the dough, and you're going to roll it out into a fairly large rectangle. I'm just trying to get this as perfect as I can. It doesn't have to be absolutely perfect because we'll clean everything up later. So we're going to roll this out nice and flat, and then you're going to go ahead and take that cinnamon and butter mixture with the sugar, all of that good stuff, and you're going to go ahead and lay it out onto the dough. So like I was saying before, the recipe actually calls for you to take the softened butter and spread it out the way I'm just doing the entire mixture, and then just sprinkle the cinnamon sugar on top. I just mixed all that together and threw it on there. It still came out good. So do what you feel. And then we're going to go ahead and roll it up. I like to start from the bottom and just roll it up as tightly as I possibly can. And then you're going to get some either kitchen twine, that's what I had, or you can use some dental floss as well. I didn't feel like going upstairs and getting it, so I used my kitchen twine. And you're just going to go ahead and use that to cut your cinnamon rolls. And this gets you about 8 to 10 rolls in total. Right, so we're going to go ahead and lay those out into our pan, and I'm going to cover them and let them rise. And like I said, my house was like really cool this day. I didn't get much rise out of them. You can see a little bit of a difference, but not much. And while those are rising and baking in the oven, I'm going to go ahead and do the icing. We're going to add in some powdered sugar, a brick of cream cheese, a few tablespoons of butter, a little bit of heavy cream, and of course vanilla, because we want this to taste yummy. And you're just going to blend all of that together until it's really smooth and spreadable. It should come out like very fluffy, not quite runny, but almost there.
Thought I had it right, but I am still lost in the light. And I don't know what night it is. You're somewhere else. I'm drinking not to guess. Blurred bodies, but you're on my mind. We let it go, now I'm full of rum and regret. I go out just so I can re-forget. I go out just so I can
Alright, and once you have a nice creamy consistency and your rolls have cooled, they should kind of look like this. Nice and fluffy. You're going to go ahead and take your finished icing and you're just going to dollop that on top and smooth that baby out. Y'all, these are so good. Look at it. Y'all, that icing looks so good. And it was so good. It was wonderful. The icing was light and fluffy, but it wasn't too sweet. And the cinnamon rolls were really like soft and fluffy, but like ooey gooey on the inside. And me and my family eat everything that I bake in these videos, so I went ahead, served up some eggs and some bacon, and I sat down with a good ass book and ate my breakfast. Okay guys, I hope that you enjoyed that recipe. That was so good. I had spent ages trying to find the recipe that I used to use to make my cinnamon rolls. I couldn't find them, and I couldn't remember enough of the ingredients to make them correctly. So that was the closest thing that I found, and it was delicious. I think I want to do that again soon. I will have the recipe, the creator that I found the recipe from, all of that stuff will be linked in the description box below, so make sure you check that out. And let me know, what kind of other recipes do you want to see for Book and Breakfast? I have lots of things turning in my head, so let me know. So I told y'all I have been struggling to finish a book, and y'all are going to judge me when you see how many unfinished books I have sitting here. None of these books are bad, they're amazing, but I have just been reading at a snail's pace. Like, I just can't seem to get anything finished. The only book that I have read that I just breezed through was Between Love and Loathing by Shane Rose. I buddy read that with my love Mama Book Talk over on TikTok. Go check out the Booksterhood, follow everybody, because we keep it real over there, we keep it tight, but don't bring any mess, okay? But we buddy read this together. It was so good. I really enjoyed it. But everything else I just can't seem to finish. Like, my brain, it's just moving real slow. So the first thing that I have been super excited about, and I am loving, absolutely loving, This Could Be Us by Kennedy Ryan. You guys know that Before I Let Go was definitely like, it opened some kind of gateway. And me and Kennedy Ryan are like this. There is something about Kennedy Ryan's writing that touches me at a soul deep level. I just finished listening to Real, like while I was getting ready to film today. And I was sitting there trying not to cry while doing my makeup. I got to the end of it and it was just such a poignant moment for me. I adore that book. 10 out of 10, 5 stars. This book 2 in the Skyland series, the sequel to Before I Let Go, and this follows Soledad. So we met Soledad earlier. She is best friend to Yasmin and Hendrix, who we will get a book about too. And she is kind of going through it, okay? She is a mother. She's a stay-at-home mom. And she's kind of been her husband's arm candy for a while. And she's noticed that he's gotten very distant. He's been coming home very late. They haven't been having sex anymore. Like, their intimacy is just gone. He's always short with her. And she knows something isn't right, but she can't figure out what is going on. And he keeps going on and on about this new guy that's working at his job, that's making his life hell, all of this stuff. And so they go to his job's Christmas party. You know, they're shooting the shit he can. She comes across this fine ass brother. He's looking at her like he's looking at her, you know what I'm saying? And she is like, "Ooh, I haven't felt nothing like this in a long time because my husband ain't paying no attention to me." But she, you know, breaks it to him that she is married. Her husband works for the company. And then she finds out that this man is Judah Cross, the guy that her husband supposedly hates. And after all of this takes place, next thing you know, there is a big FBI bust at Soledad's house because her husband has been doing some fuck shit at work. It is insane. And of course, Judah, the man who brought all of this to light, is the man that Soledad is now starting to fall for. I love this so much. It is so good. I'm 50% through. And so we're really getting into the meat of Soledad taking this time after everything that has happened with her husband and recovering her life, taking this time for her, rediscovering herself, taking care of herself, and feeling confident again. This is everything. The way that Kennedy Ryan discusses love, affection, family, food, it just, she gets it. Soledad really just does feel like one of the homegirls. Like, she feels like a friend, like somebody that I would knuck up for. You know what I'm saying? So I have really been enjoying this. I have been reading this on my breaks at work. And I've been enjoying just moving across this at a slow pace because I'm really taking in Soledad's story and experience. Very different from what I've been reading. I started this and I have just had a hard time getting back into it. I put it down to work on an arc, and I need to pick it back up. Sight Unseen by Kasha Thompson. And this is a romance that is based on shows like Love is Blind, Married at First Sight. And so we have Evelyn and Quincy. They meet at the altar and they are instantly smitten for each other. I am only 8 chapters in, so I know that there is so much more to go on in this book, but I feel like this is just kind of a good reprieve from things that are like very like overly dramatic and weighty, you know, because Soledad's story is very weighty. Like I feel the weight of what she goes through. Same with Real, especially with the chronic illness rep in Real. Having something like this, I feel like is a good kind of in between, you know what I'm saying? So I have enjoyed this. I need to pick it back up because like I said, I put it down to work on some arcs. I arc read all 3 of the Toxic Paradise books. I read the first 2 so that I could do the official arc read for the last book in that. And while I was doing that, I ended up putting this down. So I am excited to get back into this because I really just enjoyed, listen, that tender black love. There's nothing like it. There's nothing like a good black romance. I haven't really been reading a lot of my fantasy. If I have been reading anything like fantasy related, it's been, it still has heavy like romance, smutty elements. So I have been working on God Killer by Hannah Kaner. This is really good. It took a minute for me to kind of, y'all know how fantasy is. You be sitting there, you be like, how do you say these people's names? What is this world? Like, what is happening? So this is a world where gods are forbidden. we have multiple characters who have all been affected by these gods in some type of way. And they all end up having to come together for one common goal. So it's very much like that, that Grand Odyssey found family kind of situation. And if this is going the way that I think that it's going, I think this might have sapphic rep in it too. I'll have to double check the reviews because I only remember one person talking about this and I haven't really heard too much from other people. I just kept seeing it on my Amazon and I knew that I wanted to pick it up. So far, I'm really enjoying it. I'm loving the story. For it to be fantasy, I feel like it is still like a very easy read, and I think book 2 is getting ready to come out. So far, so good. I got this on Book Outlet, actually. I need to do a Book Outlet haul. So the next video on here will probably be a Book Outlet haul because I got a lot of really good things during their $5.99 sale. Finally taking the plunge and finishing this book. I started it a couple of days ago. Haven't gotten too far into it. This is Revive Me Part 3, The Apology by J.L. Seegars. Look, if you know, you know. If you love you some black romance, JL is that girl, okay? Restore Me owns my soul. Dominic Alexander will forever be Zaddy. That's my man in my mind, okay? But Chris be making points. Mal and Chris's story is so complicated and deep that it took 3 parts, okay? And this is them coming back together and finally getting their HEA after all of the insane things that happened to these two throughout their relationship. This is spanning like 10 plus years of baggage. I really enjoyed the first 2, but they wrecked me. Like, they broke my heart because I'm just like, I want these 2 to work. I want these 2 to make it. And it seemed like Chris just couldn't do nothing right. Like, even when he thought he was getting there, like, he wasn't. He wasn't. And I felt for Mallory because she has endured so much trauma and so much of it had been laid bare throughout the events of the first 2 books in this. So I figured I needed to go ahead and read this because I found out that I am going to be getting the arc for Release Me, the next book from JL. I'm so excited. It's an e-arc, but y'all know I'm going to be purchasing a copy of it because anything JL I have to have in my collection. I have all of her books so far. So I have her novella again, and then all of the New Haven series. So this is going to be the next book in the New Haven series. And I am excited to get into that one, but I said, let me go ahead and finish Revive. I've really been enjoying throwing in some like really good smutty novellas and stuff like that. And I have been on a monster romance kick. Thank my friend T for that. And also Lo, Well-Read Nurse over on the Copycat. So I am reading book 2 of the Creature Cafe series from Clio Evans. I started this last night. I'm going to finish it tonight. It's called Little Sip of Sin. I absolutely enjoyed the first book, and that was with a human and a demon. It was MM. There's Mpreg. Like, it had everything. It was filthy. This one is filthier. We have 2 dragons and a human. And I'm eating this up. It's so good. I love how Clio Evans really unpacks really difficult topics, but moves through them with the romance and the smut of it all. Like, I absolutely enjoy it. And it has all of the things that you love with monster romance. You know, fated mates. We have nodding. It gets filthy. And we have 2 very moody dragons, and I just absolutely adore that aspect of it. So this right here is giving me life. I have book 3 on my little shelf in the corner over here, and I plan on picking up the next 3 books in this as well. This is a 12-part series that takes place in the fictional Creature Cafe. And we have our barista, who is not just a barista, but a matchmaker and possibly like a hitman. Because this barista seems to know what's going on with everybody and has been putting folks in jail and everywhere else. Like, the barista be around, okay? But the barista is known for making perfect matches. And so people go to the barista at the Creature Cafe to help them find their perfect mate. So far we're 2 for 2. So the first book is about Dante. He is a demon. This one is about Draken. He is best friends with Dante and Dante's roommate. And after Dante gets his mate, he's like, I'm kind of jealous. I want that too. And look, Draken gets lucky because Draken gets 2 mates, Cat and Dell. And it's absolutely filthy. It's wonderful. So if you love monster romance, I highly suggest getting into Clio Evans. I have 2 other books from Clio Evans, but they're on my Kindle app. So I need to go on and read those. But I'm just loving like this cute little world with the Creature Cafe series. It's just enough, you know? It's like when you eat one of those like little mini brownie situations, like it's literally just enough. I'm also absolutely adoring working on January Rayne's books. January then got me back into vampires. It's been a while since I have been into vampires, like high school. You can see my old House of Night stack back there. It's been a while. So I am loving the monster romance kick that I've been on. It has been a mood. And then I am currently doing a little bit of arc reading. I try to keep up with my arcs. Sometimes it's a little bit more difficult to do. Right now I am reading Icing It. I will put the picture right here. I can't remember the author off the top of my head. It's a new to me author. This is a Why Choose hockey romance with featuring an FMC who is the sister of one of the players on the team. I believe that player has a book, but I haven't read it. I'm gonna have to go back and read it because I feel slightly lost. Did not know that this was a sequel. And our male characters feature one of the hockey players on the team, his best friend, and one of the assistant coaches. I will be honest, I don't know how I feel about it right now because the younger 2, I don't know if I like them. There's grumpy and then there's very close to being anti-woman. And this is giving me like too far into the anti-woman kind of situation. So I guess technically this is MMFM. I don't know if all of the M's are going to end up touching at some point. I haven't gotten that far in the book yet. I'll have to double check the blurb that they gave me, but I believe it was MMFM. But I really like the female character. I like her, Luna. She's kind of badass, even though sometimes the way the book is written gives a little bit of not like other girls energy, and I'm not a big fan of that. It's not the character herself, it's just the way it's written. And I'm trying to decide if I like the other 2, but Owen, the assistant coach, he came in and said, he's my favorite right now. I'm reading the book basically for him because he's giving all of the adorable, like, dad energy. And I love him. I adore him. So we're going to see how this goes. It said that, like, if you were fans of, like, Emily Rath or Lily Gold, which Lily Gold is one of my favorite Why Choose authors, that you would enjoy this. And I kind of see that, but I'm just not sure that I like the male characters in this book, with the exception of the older one of them. So we shall see. Here we go. I want to talk about some things that I hope to read soon. Things that are on my immediate list that I'm excited to work on. First things first, Dark City Omega. This is the first book in the Beasts of Gadamora series by Elizabeth Stevens. How gorgeous is that? Look, first we love a matte cover. But look. When Omegas run away, the Beasts of Gadamora come out to play. Echo knew that being caught by a ruling berserker would mean becoming his pawn, a plaything to be used for her powers. That wouldn't be her fate. She'd rather run lost through the woods forever, dangerous they may be. But there's something even more sinister than beasts and berserkers lurking in the woods, something both undead and deadly. She can't fight it alone. She'll have to turn to the berserker who's caught the trail of her scent and won't let it go. He says she's his. She says never. He says forever. Bones, bonds, and hearts will be broken. Some battles can't be won. Run, Omega, run. I'm so excited. Look, I've been trying to really get into Omegaverse because Lo is like the Omegaverse queen, the goddess of Omegaverse. So I'm trying to get into my Omegaverse bag. I have this, and I also have Pack Darling 1 and 2 on my Kindle by Lola Rock. And like Lo talks about those all the time, so I'm excited to get into this. Though this has been out, it's only been out on ebook, and I wanted to read the physical copy because I prefer to read physical copies. That Time I Got Drunk and Saved a Human by Kimberly Lemming. I love the first 2 books in this series, so I am so excited to get into this. This one is following Cherry, and she's been around for a minute. She's been around in both books. I'm excited to read this. And can we talk about the art? I love that the artwork to this fully stood up to what Kimberly Lemming gave us with the indie editions. I have the original cartoon covers that she did, but these are beautiful. Absolutely stunning. My mom saw these when I got them in the mail and she was like, oh my God. I was like, yeah, like they're beautiful. So I cannot wait to dig into this. And I just love pulling out Kimberly Lemming's books when I need just something cozy, funny, but still adventurous, you know? Even though a lot of people say they don't feel like this fits into the cozy fantasy genre, I feel like there is an aspect of the Mead Mishaps world in Boohale. I feel like there is a level of cozy comfort to this, and even though there are high stakes situations in these books, of course, there's a cozy aspect to them, and I think to me they do feel like cozy fantasy. So, and then I told you guys, January Rayne has my heart. I'm going to be starting this one soon because the next book in the series is coming out at the end of this month. Well, when I'm filming this, it's the end of this month. When you guys see this, it's going to be like the first Saturday of the month. And that is Eternally Cursed. So this is the 4th book in the Shallow Cove series. Not to be confused with the Shallow Cove Dark Dimension series. That's a different one. I killed mindlessly for 15 years. A curse trapped me inside my werewolf, and I became the perfect killing puppet for the warlock controlling me. Screams of my victims haunt me. The phantom warmth of blood heats my hands, and guilt eats away at my psyche. I don't deserve love. I don't deserve a mate. Who could ever love a monster like me? Rue does. My little lucky charm from another planet. No matter how much I warn her, no matter how much I try to scare her, no matter how many times I threaten her, she stays. But she doesn't understand my kind. Werewolves are violent creatures, and if my wolf doesn't get his way, it isn't just her heart I'll be ripping out, but mine too, which in 14 days is exactly what will happen. A night of violence and lust awaits, and I'm doubtful she can survive me. Our lives are on the line, but so is my brother's. 14 days to find the treatment of his sickness, 14 days to survive on an unknown planet, 14 days to see if I kill my mate. The full moon is rising, and I wish it wouldn't. Okay, so this one isn't poly. I don't know why I thought this one was like, why choose? I don't know. Oh, I might have just gotten confused because I'm pretty sure like they're twins. They're twin wolves, if I remember correctly. You need to read these in order. So the first book is Eternally Hers, and then we have Eternally Damned, followed by Carnival of Creeps. And so the events that happen in Carnival of Creeps directly relate to what we're going into with this book here. And so this is paranormal romance done right. It is filthy, but it just keeps you on the edge of your seat. We have all sorts of creatures in this. It starts off very much vampire heavy, but then you end up getting everything. We have vampires, we have witches and warlocks, we have werewolves, we have elves, angels, like literally everything you get in here. And so I am so excited to see how this goes. The next book is Eternally Rare, which follows the long lost sister of the 2 Monroe brothers, who are the current line of vampires in this. So I am so excited. I'm so excited. January Rayne has become a new auto-buy author for me. If you love paranormal romance, if you love it smutty, filthy, all of that, you got to get into January. So good. Another one of my favorite monster romance authors, Maeve Black. I've been meaning to read this. I was going to read this for February, but I never got around to it. Stupid Cupid. This is she calls it a naughty Valentine's monster stuffer. Val has never considered love real, tangible, not attainable, nothing more than fiction, until he came along. Dominant, insufferable, bossy, Pyro didn't plan to fall in love. He didn't have time to until a stubborn Cupid shot into his life like an arrow soaring through the sky. Now he wants to prove to Valentine that love is real, and Pyro won't give up on him no matter what. So this is MM, and this is Dragon and Cupid. I'm so excited. I read Dear Monster Claus during the holidays. It was so good. I absolutely adore Dear Monster Claus, and I was like, I gotta read this one because I had to know about Pyro. Pyro was that dude, okay? So I'm excited. Maeve Black kills it for me, so I know this is going to be good. And then I'm going to finally suck it up and read this book because the last book in the series is finally done. It's coming out. I know that this series is not everyone's favorite. A lot of people hate on it. I love it. And I stand on that. This is A Game of Gods by Scarlett St. Clair. This is the 3rd book in the Hades saga, and the 6th book in the overall Touch of Darkness universe. Touch of Chaos just came out, and that one has both Hades and Persephone's POVs in here. Game of Gods is just Hades' world situation. So we get Hades' POV, and this is his POV of Touch of Malice. I already know I'm going to be so deeply in my feelings with this. Shit is going off at this point in the book. Like, it's getting crazy. The world of the gods is shifting. Persephone's mama is like doing the most. There's a whole lot going on underground. And so all of those things that Persephone doesn't see and understand in her perspective, you see in Hades. And so I really enjoy the way that Scarlett St. Clair set this up. I know that Scarlett St. Clair isn't everyone's favorite writer, but I do feel like as I have read these books, every book from her gets stronger. I see so much growth in her writing, and that just kind of gives me feels, you know what I'm saying? So I have the feeling that I'm going to feel the same way with this, because when I read the book prior to this, I think it was Retribution, I was like, wow, like she really grew when she wrote this book. So I am excited to get into this. I absolutely adore this universe, but I need to read this so I can go ahead and read Chaos. I'm not ready for it to be over, but I know that pretty soon we're going to get Aphrodite and Hephaestus. So I'm excited about that. But not least, definitely not least, my friends have been trying to get me into this series for a while. I read a little bit of everything, and I definitely like it dark, okay? I like it dark. One of my favorite books of all time is Debt by Nina G. Jones. That is a dark erotica. I do enjoy like Haunting Adeline. I don't have, that's my brother's truck. Sorry if y'all heard that. I do enjoy Haunting Adeline. I don't have physical copies. I need to get physical copies, but I love it dark. So you can, I have a lot of my dark books up here, some over here. So I like it dark. And so it's about time that I read The Ritual by Shantel Tessier. I have heard so much about this and all of the books that follow, and nobody tell me it was this big though. Why did y'all tell me it was this is a brick. I could murk somebody with this. Barrington University is home of the Lords, a secret society that requires their blood in payment, are above all the most powerful in the world. They devote their life to violence in exchange for power, and their senior year they offer the chosen one. I vow, you vow, we vow. People think growing up with money is freeing, but I promise you it's not. My entire life has been planned out for me. I never got the chance to do what I wanted, until Riot Alexander Archer came along and gave me an option for a better life. He offered me what no one else ever had, freedom. I chose to be his. That's what he made me believe anyway. But it was just another lie. A way that the lords manipulate you into doing what they want. After being sucked into the dark, twisted world of the lords, I embraced my new role and allowed Riot to parade me around like the trophy I was to him. But like all things, what started out as a game soon became a fight for survival, and the only way out was death. Y'all, I just know there's gonna be something. Some people say that they find the first book boring and that it picks up with the rest of them. But some people say that like the ritual was like a life-changing moment for them. I don't know, but I'm ready to get into it. Like I said, I love it dark, and I've been looking for a good dark series that wasn't like just like dark fantasy based. And I love anything Secret Society. I love Secret Society. So this is, it's giving Secret Society, dark academia, dark romance, and I'm here for it. So I'm excited to get into this. If you don't like dark romance, that's okay. You don't have to. Okay, you don't have to. Okay. I feel like we had to have this conversation like every 2 weeks. So I am really excited to open this up, and I think that once I finish up with my JL Seegars reread, I'm going to start this, and I'm going to go ahead and start Eternally Cursed, so that I can go ahead and get into this world, because I just know it's going to be something else. I hope you guys enjoyed this installment. Let me know what you think. I will be posting these 1 to 2 times a month with new recipes and just all things bookish. And be on the lookout for more things. I will have more thorough book reviews. I will have book hauls. And I may even try to do like some reading vlogs, and maybe do some lives where we just kind of sit down and read and do reading sprints as well. So yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you all, and I will see you in the next one. Bye.
Never thought a sunrise could burn more than a midnight without you.
Already paying for tonight.